Afternoon all. A QI question came up on TV recently, which was, who was the most famous person ever to lose to a chess computer? And you might think the answer to that question is Kasparov, losing to Deep Blue or Deeper Blue. But actually, that's not the correct answer, well, according to QI. But I find it a bit questionable, actually. The answer given by QI was actually Napoleon Bonaparte losing against an automation called the Turk. There's some background information about the Turk on Wiki, which I'll read you some of. So the Turk's also known as the Mechanical Turk or Automation Chess Player. It was a fake chess playing machine constructed in the late 18th century. From 1770 until its destruction by fire in 1854, it was exhibited by various owners as an automation. Though it was exposed in the 1820s as an elaborate hoax. In fact, as hoaxes go, it's supposed to be one of the most, famous, most amazing hoaxes, because really people really believed it was an automation. When you sort of opened it, it looked as though it was like lots of mechanics and nothing going on, but actually there was actually space for someone to sit in there and control the Turk. So the Turk is actually, so it's a mechanical illusion. It allowed this chess master to hide in there and operate the machine. And the Turk got to play Napoleon Bonaparte apparently in 1809, and also apparently Benjamin Franklin, which we have a video on this channel, who was also a keen chess player, one of the founding fathers of the United States. So the Turks really played some amazing, the high-profile people. So don't expect a very high-quality game in this one, 1809. Napoleon playing white. Now the Turk apparently was operated by Johann Allgaier in this game. So e4 was played by Napoleon. After e5 we see Queen f3, so nothing too sophisticated. The soft spot f7 is immediately targeted. So it's as if Napoleon is playing a quick chess cube warzone game and he wants to mate as quickly as possible his opponent. So the unsuspecting opponent might fall for this mate, but no. A master is playing black and plays knight f6. Okay. Knight e2, which means that maybe knight g3, knight f5 is going to be useful, even though the queen's blocked the natural square f3. Bishop c5, okay, seems to be a logical, classical move. a3, as though maybe b4 and bishop b2 are going to be played soon. d6. Okay, this unveils actually bishop g4 as a possibility, which could be nasty to attack and skewer the queen and knight here. White castles, and in fact black immediately makes use of bishop g4. And white might have thought his next move was adequate. He plays queen d3 here, protecting e2, still keeping an eye on e2, just in case. Well, the bishop is protecting e2 as well. So you might have thought maybe queen g3 is another move, but possibly there's some problems with queen g3 here. Let's not analyze this game too much. In fact, let's just go with the flow. Queen d3 was played, and it is a subject of tempo gain actually on d3 after this next move, knight h5. Because now we have the possibility of bishop takes and then knight f4. Also, of course, g2 would be under fire. h3, and in fact black goes in for this. He takes on e2. After queen takes e2, the knight installs itself on a very aggressive square. So Kasparov's favourite square is f5 as white or f4 as black. And it's difficult to dislodge that knight, of course, because of the h3 pawn. So it's an ideal knight. And it can be backed up now. Well, there's various ways. Immediately queen g5 looks quite crushing as well actually in this position, because you can imagine queen g5, g3, there would be a disaster because of queen takes g3 mating next move. That pin on f2, but queen g5 wasn't chosen. Knight d4 was chosen actually, which is still quite menacing. There's an immediate threat as well of knight f3 if nothing else takes queen g5 again, mating on g2. White plays bishop b3, and another way of skinning the cat was used here. Knight takes h3 check. So if takes, we have knight f3 check, forking queen and king. Napoleon avoids that. He plays king h2, and now we see queen h4. So there's numerous threats. For example, knight takes f2, king moves, knight f3, and queen h1 will be mating. Just to demo that, for example, knight takes f2, knight f3 check to protect the knight, then queen h1 will be mating. So, okay, white in this position is in big trouble. He plays g3. Still, there's a slaughter now. After knight f3 check, the queen is taken. Now queen g4, and it's still slaughter time. You know, knight f4, bishop f2 are all major threats. d3 is played, and we see bishop takes f2. So queen takes g3 next. It's all coming apart at the seams. So Chess Games actually nicknamed this game Napoleon like taken apart. Napoleon Bonaparte. So anyway, rook h1. Okay, queen takes g3, dismantling white completely. Bishop d4, threatening mate in 1 with queen f2. Napoleon avoids that for a moment. Queen g2, the rook is munched. It's not the greatest game ever, it's got to be said, but it's to do with the context of the game is interesting. This automation and the most famous person to have lost to the automation. So knight g1, threatening mate again. Parrying that mate threat for a moment, but the defensive knight's removed, and then we get queen e2 mate. Okay. The interesting point of this game is, as I say, it came up from a QI question. I thought, why not check out this game and share it with you at the same time, just in case you weren't aware of this very famous game. 1809. I hope it's not fictional. It's way back. I'm not sure. How can we prove this game really happened? It's such a long time ago. So it was apparently it played in Schoenbrunn, 1809. So Napoleon, okay, did Napoleon really play like this for a quick mate? Maybe. It's plausible, I guess. Okay, black really destroyed white here. Maybe queen g3 is an improvement. If the bishop's attack, he can come back to d3. It can it can still protect e2. So I think queen g3 might be a better move. But let's not do a forensic technical analysis of this game. It's not really worth it, actually. It's what black did very well to play knight h5 here to further harass the queen, basically. And h3 is just really asking for it. It's asking for this major knight installment on f4, which spells disaster. I think queen g5 is immediately absolutely crushing as well here. In fact, I'm tempted to just run this through an engine just to make sure. Queen g5 is absolutely murder. Queen g5, g4. Okay, it's mate in 8 actually. Okay, let's stop that. But no, knight d4 is also a strong move as well. So the master playing back is not bad. Johann Allgaier. It'll be interesting to know if this Johann Allgaier has actually beaten other strong players around that time, well, rather strong chess masters around that time. What is his immortal game? So bishop b3, knight takes h3, and we saw queen h4. It's all coming down on white here, and remorseless attack, winning lots of material in the process, taking time to munch the rook, and then coming in for the final mate. It's of historical significance. It's not the most exciting high-tech technologically in terms of chess, but in terms of the faking of technology, the automation, the Turk, it's fascinating. that I think magic in those times was in a very crude form. Fortunately, I have a feeling that in, for example, bird tricks, they'd actually kill a few birds in the process to make a bird appear somewhere else, and it was quite crude. I've seen a film on a thing about on this theme of magic and illusionists, and it can come at quite a price. Now, the price of this illusion, I guess, is someone being very uncomfortably placed inside this box, controlling this mechanical Turk, which is dressed, you know, as the Turk, as a Turkish automation, a Turkish person would have dressed in that time at around 1809. So, okay, apart from discomfort, I hope no one was killed trying to sort of create this illusion. So it wasn't as damaging as other magic tricks around the time. But so it's supposed to be one of the amazing illusions up until that time, and people were apparently taken in by it. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.